Hey, welcome back in. It's the leans and the locks. We have a lot here. I'm sorry, I'm going to keep my voice going. We had a pretty big one on the Discord. So there was a lot of yelling last night as we hit not one, but two parlays, two separate parlays. Maybe if you're lucky, I'll share what's going on here. But I just want to remind you all, of course, what's happening. Ask you to hit the thumbs up button, as you know. I'm also going to ask you to what? Subscribe. We've got over 70,000 right now strong on this huge site. And we're so grateful for you. So definitely appreciate that big time. Also, we go through every game here each and every week. Lindy's got you through the week. I have you during the weekend. And this isn't going to stop. So we're doing this for a reason as my thing just rides up. I don't know why. It wasn't like it was hanging from or that hanger, like it shouldn't be hanger shoulder by any means. All right, let's head to FanDuel, see what we can cook up, see what we have here. As I mentioned, you have a pretty cool thing here, right? Where it's $5 for 150, but I'll show you more so than anything else. I'll show you. You have to be 21 or older, gambling problem, call 1-800-GAMBLER, because there's a lot that you can do that you can only do on FanDuel. So let us begin. It's the Peacock game. Do you remember this? We talked about this at length last year. Whenever we had the Peacock game, it just happens to start 1 hour early. And for whatever reason, it has an impact. It has an effect on the total to the under, to where the under was just smashing. Now, maybe this was equivalent to like Thursday night football when it's first coming around in the NFL and there was an adjustment period. I'm not sure. It's an hour earlier. I can tell you this. It's wet right now in Philadelphia, where I am currently sitting, and it's supposed to warm up, but it's also supposed to get super humid. You've got Wheels on the hill here, Arena on the other side. I'm just going to lock up the under. It's a Peacock game, and I'm not here to flirt with anything else than what we have, what we've been working with in our favor, and that's the under. For whatever reason you want, the numbers have been there, and this has significantly favored the under. We go to Atlanta. Max Fried is who we're going to target here. Over 4.5 Ks, just a lean, but over 4.5 Ks for a guy that's not striking a lot of people out, but he's not messing up anywhere else. So if you just look at his K rate, or if you just look at strikeouts, it may not tell the entire story, but he's not getting hit well. Like, people aren't, as far as ex-WOBA or just slugging. I know you guys love your numbers. All that stuff is just not adding up. It's kind of hard to hit Max Fried. So Christian Javier on the other side just hasn't got to where we thought he could be yet, at least. And maybe this is just the whole thing with Houston. So are there some Ks? Absolutely. Fried has some Ks here. And there are about 5 guys right now who you can look at in this Astros lineup, at least projected lineup, that would pop out for good strikeout opportunity. It's in Atlanta. You look at that total, 8.5. Pretty decent favorite for Atlanta at home. Also, a lot of this has to be, I think, factored in with the start of the Houston Astros. But I'm good here. Max Fried over 4.5 Ks is our second play. And again, a big part of that is really just trying to take advantage of the matchup. Normally, would you just pound over on Fried's every single time? No, but the matchup. Look, this is what I was telling you about here with FanDuel, okay? And I'll just show you this below. Again, you bet $5, you get $1.50. So let's go over, because again, FanDuel, you may have like alternate Ks on other sites, but you're just not going to be able to build a ladder like this. So Max Fried, you probably get some decent value if you just look here up top, right, for pitcher props, just in any alt. And again, that's just going to be a ladder. So you know that 5 Ks is basically the over for what we have. That's the baseline, right? Over 4.5, 5 Ks. That's what that is. Then you start to get here, okay, 6 Ks. 8 Ks is ridiculous. I get it, but it's 8-1 for a guy that we're asking to go 3 more than his total. I don't think he's going to have the innings there, but 7, I'd probably just go, if you look at it, 5 and then 7. Take a little long shot there at plus 360, smaller unit there. But most places will either give you like 5 and 8, or they'll give you like just the over. So FanDuel, at the very least, you're allowed to mess around with something like this. And that's why I think it's worth it here, at least with Max Fried, to kind of build that K ladder. I'm just telling you, you can do a lot of things here. Just saying, it's all below, right there below. You ready to get back? Let's go to Pittsburgh. Hey, I'm going to take the better pitcher in this matchup. Simple as that. I'm going to look at Hunter Green versus Vinny Velo and mainly base this entire pick off who's going to go deeper into this baseball game. And Velasquez has been part of this nice ride, don't get me wrong, but the numbers just aren't there. Hunter Green should be striking people out at will. Now, the problem, of course, is that 10 Ks, giving up 4 runs. You never know. There's some volatility here by all means. But for a dude who's got a K rate north of 30 versus Velasquez, and it's not even so much like, oh, the Pirates suck. They don't. I'm not trying to minimize anything that Pittsburgh has done at 15-7 coming into this game. Just saying that you've got a pretty cool chance here, at least, to jump on plus, or it's now moved to minus 108, but it was plus money for a little bit. I'm just going to take Hunter Green. The better of the pitchers right now is Hunter Green, and that's the best play is Cincinnati on the money line. Let's go to New York, the Bombers here. This one, and, just looking at the play, we're going to go under 8.5. Forget the K's there. Don't worry about that. That was a leftover from Garrett Cole, which was a hit, by the way. Nice. Maybe that's what it was. I wanted to, and don't blame the producer because that's me. So I wanted to just remind you. That's what it was. I knew there was an Easter egg for some reason in there. And I just wanted to remind you about the Garrett Cole play. Yeah, we had some fun. We did. That's what it was all about. We're going to go under the total in this game. And again, this is also predicated, for the most part, I would say, on the pitching matchup. But also looking at, I think, the Yankees more so than anything, where they're coming in with a team that just messed up just a little bit, but is still pretty good, just above their heels on the road in Tampa Bay, or pardon me, in Toronto. So this is really a good matchup. And what I'd like to target, I think, here is the road team's pitcher. The reason why I say that more so than looking at home for Clark Schmidt, which is going to be the obvious, is Kevin Gausman. He's going to do his part. And there isn't just this automatic assumption for a guy that does strike people out and has limited walks, done a very good job at that. I think that's probably the best thing you can do. Now, Clark Schmidt is going to give up some runs. Clark Schmidt's vulnerable right now, right? Like, Clark Schmidt is definitely a guy that you have to worry about now when it comes to how much he's going to give up. But I don't think it gets that bad. And look, if it's a bullpen game, if it's just a punt game to that effect, it's going to be a little bit more difficult with rotating arms there. I'm basically just predicating this all on Gausman. Let's move to Baltimore. Another pick, another pitcher, another K-prop. It's been working for us. And you can look at numbers, but it's really just, this is Rodriguez versus Rodriguez here. And the bigger part of me wants to just fade everything Detroit. Truly just fade everything Detroit. Because if not, then, I don't know if you're going to get anything with the total. I don't like the total there. Grayson Rodriguez has a K rate of 29%. I think that's the best pathway here. I don't want to lay 166 on what should be at least a pretty good pathway for the Baltimore Orioles to win this game. Again, Detroit on the road. But it's also just what a matchup here. What a matchup. For a 3-8 team that has a lot of Ks, a lot of holes in that lineup, I'm thinking, all right, I get an opportunity to go over 5.5 Ks against Detroit, where Eduardo Rodriguez, by the way, isn't brutal. I think this is going to be a lower scoring game. The total is 8. It's probably sharper than not. So I'm not going to mess with that. I'm just going to think, all right, well, Grayson Rodriguez is going to be in the game a little bit, and that's where I'd like to target. Yes, run first inning. Alert. Woo, look at this. We're going to go over a run in the first inning. Love this prop. Lock it up. It's in here. Jesus Luzardo is on the mound for the Miami Marlins. On the other side, you got Logan Allen. What? Yeah. Somebody's giving up a run. And look, Luzardo can K the side and give up a shot. Some of these balls, he throws so hard. Some of these balls are coming out on fire. Truly on fire. So I'm looking at the big picture from the first inning. I'm getting plus money to go over a run here. And there is so much unknown, right, with Logan Allen against this squad. Right at the top, I mean, you've got some guys at both tops of both lineups that are not going to offer up much K rates. I don't know. This seems like guys are going to be on the bag. It's going to be hard, as we know, to strike out Cleveland. It just seems like they're going to be base runners is all we need to target, base runners. And I'm confident we can get that with Allen. And look, you get me, again, Cleveland gets the benefit here. Much more difficult to strike out than just saying, oh, well, Jesus Luzardo is going to mow everybody down, right? Over 7.5. We got to go over in this game. How about the McClanahan-Cease combo that we saw on Saturday? Don't necessarily think that you're going to get that today. But what I do think you are actually is a bunch of runs. Now, this game is going to feature, you're not going to get anything near what you got yesterday. Let's just say, get that out of the way as far as that matchup. But Giolito, and this is where you start to look to, okay, is there a bunch of K-rate guys, or are there guys that are prone to making some mistakes? Zach Eflin and Lucas Giolito don't walk guys. They don't. So now it's a matter of, can they activate Ks? Can they just mow everybody down? We've seen both of these teams do okay when it comes to, I mean, the Sox score a shit ton of runs. They just give up an insane amount from a pitching standpoint, and Giolito's going to be in there in that conversation. Tampa Bay was just on this, ridiculous tear, but they score a lot of runs too. So neither one of these guys, in Eflin nor Giolito, is going to give me any pause to say, well, I got to slow down here and slam the under. I'm comfortably going over 7.5. All right, over 8.5 here in Milwaukee. This is another strong play. Don't worry, we've got the locks coming back, but I'm not going to force it by any means here. What I love for me would be to look at Brian Bello, I think, first, and then we can get into the game. Brian Bello is going to be out there. And I've learned that, unfortunately, I've been bit, like I'm sure you've been bit. And Corbin Burns is not as advertised. I'll leave it at that, especially with the guy who is struggling to strike people out consistently. So Brian Bello is going to be out there for a couple of innings, and he's probably going to go crazy, and it's probably going to be a disaster. He's probably going to give up 4 runs in like a stretch. He'll get his Ks, don't get me wrong. But the one thing that I've learned, and again, been bit on it, has been he's going to be out there. So you do have, that's why it's tough to fade him on an under K prop, because he'll get an extra inning or maybe an inning and a third, what have you. But that's also a chance to give up more runs. And that's also a chance right there for Milwaukee to turn the bat. Now, Burns, you can look at a couple of things that are working for him if you just want to talk about limiting runs, but that's not even it. I mean, the whip is down because of walks, not because of strikeouts. But he's also been guilty of giving up a couple of runs. Couple, right? This game has offense. This game has mistake on the mound written all over it. All over it. Let's move to Minnesota. Hey, I'm going to run with the first 5 here. It's again a lean. I'm looking at the scroll. There are some locks coming. Mike Trout is coming. I see that too. First 5 here for the Twins. They are a monster favorite against Patrick Corbin. It's Patrick Corbin Day. It doesn't matter in Minnesota. They don't celebrate that. They don't give a shit about Patrick Corbin outside of, we get to beat the shit out of this dude. Now, you've got Bailey Ober making his first nod of the season. So you don't have anything there on the flip side for Washington. I don't know what the length, the expected length is here for Ober either, but it's not going to work out well for Washington. Now, Washington does not strike out. They just don't hit well, right? They're just not a great baseball team. That's what comes with, not scoring a lot of runs. So they don't strike out. They're like the real poor version of the Cleveland Guardians, at least on offense. But, I'm not going to just slide Cleveland over, but they're not giving up as much as their score, or the gap, I should say, because they are giving up more than they're scoring, but the gap isn't as wide. I look at this game and think Patrick Corbin, first 3-4 innings, he's probably not going to get crushed, but there is that chance of it. Minnesota's clearly the better team when you look at these two teams in the individual game and also in the pitching matchup with the unknown, at least favoring Ober. We know what's going on, right, with Patrick Corbin. Nothing I can do there but take the Twins in the first 5. Really. I mean, I have to work around this. And it's the spread. I'm not going to lay them on the run line. I don't know what's going to happen with the bullpen. It's the spread. All right, I'm going to show you here again, just to remind you what's happening with FanDuel. And we'll come back to this Cubs game. But less than 2 hits in the first inning. So again, some of this stuff, like I'm playing this right now, is only available on FanDuel. Let's go to that Cubs-Dodgers game. I don't know why it sounded like it was going to be something else, but it was. I apologize. Here we go. And what I'm going to do is show you that you've got some stuff like, okay, run line, total line, 2 hits to be recorded in the first inning. We already have our Max Fried alt 7Ks and you ain't finding elsewhere either. This doesn't have to be a parlay. I'm just showing you what this looks like. No to 2 hits to be recorded in the first inning. So you've got this Dodgers game now where, again, in Chicago, the ball we've seen fly a little bit, especially on Friday. Yesterday, a little different story there from Chicago standpoint, but the ball is still rolling. Outman continues to smash 2 freaking home runs for this dude, man. It's just insane. Today, what are you getting today? Marcus Stroman, Clayton Kershaw. The only thing you really have to worry about in the first inning, I think, would be if Marcus Stroman walks a guy and then something just falls off. But I don't think you get 2 hits. I don't think Clayton Kershaw gives up more than a hit, and I don't think Marcus Stroman gives up a hit. And it's basically a coin flip with the VIG here at -110, -110. I'm telling you, I love stuff like this. That's why we will try and find it there on FanDuel. It's awesome. So no to 2 hits. And again, you're only going to get this stuff really on FanDuel. That's the reason why we play that. Now, as far as the game, that's the play. Less than 2 hits, first inning. See? Easy stuff. Just talked to you. I just walked it through. There's the lock. Over 7 in Arlington. Rangers hosting this A's team. What do you make of it? You've got Jacob deGrom on the hill. And yeah, Jacob deGrom is Jacob deGrom. But there's still the injury concern. There's still just the fact, I mean, he's like Joel Embiid, man. I mean, if you want to really draw a comparison. So do you really have enough Ks to activate? Ruker, no. I mean, you've got a couple of guys, don't get me wrong, but they also don't have enough at-bats, I think. Tony Kemp's not just going to offer up strikeouts. Ruiz neither. So this isn't as easy, I think, of a matchup for DeGrom just because it's Jacob DeGrom taking on the lowly Oakland A's. They give up a lot of runs on the other side, though. They really do. And I think Texas could get to 8 runs on their own. It's not so much just victimizing Kyle Muller right away, but it's victimizing him. Pretty easy. So I like this over 7 with Texas doing the majority of the work, probably all of the work if you really want to lay this thing out. Definitely rolling over 7, definitely locking it up. As we are Mike Trout, baby. Mike Trout going up against anybody on the Kansas City Royals squad. Now, if it's Chris Bubich, we know that we have a conversation at least to be had, but it's not. It's Jordan Lyles. Yeah, you're going to see just the unfortunate reality, and this might be a home run in the first inning. It might be a double, but you're going to see this unfortunate reality for Jordan Lyles where it's like, man, I got to pitch to him. Now, the whiff rate for Mike Trout has been a little rough, but I'm not going to go deep sabermetrics in here with you, analytics with you in here. Mike Trout, if you just look at what he's been able to do as of recent, going up against a pitcher in Jordan Lyles that shouldn't offer him much outside of just completely pitching around him. I mean, maybe if you'd want that, but he's hit safely in 4 straight games. 3 of those 4 games have been multi-hit games. Mike Trout, over 1.5 total bases. Lock it up. Lock up Yu Darvish under 5.5 Ks on the road against the Arizona Diamondbacks. Well, come on, the Arizona I understand the Arizona Diamondbacks. How much longer do you think this is going to last, etc.? I don't know. I don't care. I'm looking at one game. San Diego has been struggling when it comes to giving up runs as a whole. Defensively, what have you, that they've been giving up runs. It's not just pitching. And Yu Darvish, this is one where I think it's going to be a little bit of a sweat, but I definitely on FanDuel love going under 5.5 Ks. You're going to get the best number on FanDuel to go under 5.5 Ks. Dre Jameson isn't somebody that I'm super confident will shut down San Diego. I just don't think you're going to have enough Ks in this Arizona lineup. I don't. 3, 4 Ks for Darvish. Guy may go 7 innings and pitch a gem, but it's not going to be a result of the Diamondbacks swinging. It just won't. I mean, they can hard outs, loud outs, maybe a K sprinkled here or there, but I don't think you're going to see that. We keep it moving. Seattle, Jack Flats under 5.5 Ks. You know, the thing of Flaherty is similar to what we're seeing with this Arizona team. Are you going to get enough? Now, forget Chris Flexen for just a second and look at Seattle. Up top, you may, but Flaherty doesn't offer enough. The fact that Flaherty has a 1-to-1 K to walk ratio, not as far as Ks to walk, but rate, K rate to walk rate ratio is abysmal. And it's an abomination that I just can't count on. Guy can get 4 Ks and throw 93 pitches, and you're heading to the 4th inning. And then that's it. He's cooked. He's out. Seattle's going to make it work. Definitely. They have no choice but to work counts on a guy that's going to walk. This is probably going to be a higher scoring game, and that 8.5 was intriguing. But I think from the standpoint of Seattle, they have no choice, their approach at the plate, to be a little more patient, especially some K guys, because they know that Flaherty's going to implode. Last game, Sunday Night Baseball, YRFI. Yes, run first inning. We got to bring it back, don't we? We had to bring it back. Now, these are available. You can have some fun with 1.5. Like FanDuel will allow you to do it. And I'll leave you with this thought here on the end before we just bounce. But, you know, FanDuel will allow you to play multiple runs in an inning. And that's pretty cool. So let's look at this here. And I'll just take it to Sunday Night Baseball, the opportunity to at least. But you can do that any game. Doesn't matter what game it is. if you're going the first 5, or if you're just going like the first inning results, you can go over under a half. That's just yes or no run first inning. But I love the opportunity on FanDuel to also go 1.5, because that's where you can build even an NRFI or YRFI ladder. So if you wanted to tonight, Sunday night baseball, in this game with the Mets Giants, I'd build that. I'd go over, and I'd also go, no, wrong game, I get it, but I'd go over a half run, and I'd go over 1.5 run, because you're going to get a really good number for that. That's it. Super simple stuff. Sign up below for FanDuel. We'd love to have you. We'd love to have you at the Odd Shop.